I want to talk at the different stages.
Yes.
But I think it's the one of the reasons I want to do this, because for me, different stages depends on the tuning house you're talking to as what the definition of a stage is.
Yeah.
So if we talk about something like stage 1,
Yeah.
okay, so this is, you want to make your car go faster, and we're talking, for me, I'm talking more modern cars with computer controlled ECUs.
Yeah.
So what a stage 1 would do and I'm going to put my definition and see if you agree, right?
Yeah. Don't look at me for advice. I don't. Yeah.
So stage 1 for me, there is a minimal amount of hardware updates. So stage 1 would normally be a new set of spark plugs, and a different panel filter probably, or a different air filter. But then most of it is ECU tuning.
Yeah.
So you change the map in the engine to increase the power and torque that the engine produces.
Yep.
And at stage 1, you can normally get a healthy amount of extra oomph.
Yep.
You know, you might take a 200 horsepower car up to 220 or 230, or 400 horsepower car up to 450, something like that.
Yeah, I think
10-15%.
if it's NA, then very minimal. Yeah. If it's a turbocharge, which a lot of modern things are, then you can get a noticeable gain. And I think in most cases, don't quote me on this, but in most cases, pretty safe as well.
Yeah.
Like that 10% gain.
You're well within the spec of the engine.
Yeah.
But the bit that I think is important to add, and I only know this having worked with Mulgari on my Mini, is it's not about the number.
No.
So it's not about what the BHP figure you end up with or the torque number you end up with. It's about how you get there and what that, when you look at power and torque curves and when you start doing tuning, you end up being really nerdy and understanding. It's about how it comes in.
Yep.
So I think a stage 1, if you go to someone who really knows the manufacturer of car, whatever you've got, the really good guys won't be that bothered about the number. They'll want is the drivability of the car. But you can pep up a car, and the nice thing about stage 1s, they're not going to be ridiculous amounts of money. My gut feel says 400 or 500 quid will probably get you a stage 1 tune for most cars. I don't know. I'm thinking in my head minis and I don't know.
Can BMs, yeah.
That kind of money. Yeah. So, and I think for most people that might be they've got their car. They want it to be a little bit quicker, a bit more responsive, and I think a stage 1 is a simple place to go.
Yep.
It's low risk to the engine. It's not that expensive, and I think if you're not sure about whether you're going to like modifying a car, a stage 1's a great place to go, because worst case scenario, you can just put it back to standard if you don't like it. Yeah. Without having spent loads of money.
Yes. Yeah. And there are companies, although this is again a bit of a sketchy way of doing it, but there are good ones and there are bad ones. Again, relating to how much development's gone into these, like you said about the torque and the power curve. Yeah. There are some plug-in ones you can get. I think like JB Plus. I know a number of people that use JB Pluses on B58 cars, and you plug them in somewhere. I think it's. Do you plug them in the OBD port or somewhere under the engine in a port somewhere? But it's literally a case of pretty much plug in and go. Yeah. And that gives you instantly about 10-15% more, and it really unlocks that engine. But yeah, I think if you're doing it properly, you take it down to someone like I know Imran Evolve or various other places.
I think for me, go somewhere. And my top, if wherever you go, if they don't do some basic health checks on your engine before they start tuning it, drive out there and just run for the hills, because you need to. And if you maybe, I don't know about stage 1, but certainly when I did my stage 2 on my Mini, we did like half a day of pressure tests and all kinds of things to make sure that the engine was a good one. Yeah. And it's been recently serviced and all those types of things. So you do your basic beforehand. Yep. Stage 2. So what have you got? You on the M2? You've got stage 2.
I don't know. I honestly, I'm going to put my hands up here.
So stage 2.
I don't even know. I hear these people talking about, hey, stage 2, and it's like, I've got stage 17,
two, Yeah.
It's like I've got 1,000 horsepower, innit? I don't even know what this is.
So stage 2, so a bit more hardware for me, I think. So stage 2, I'm in Miniland now. Okay. I don't know whether I'm sure it's the same. Yeah. So normally you'd have a bigger intercooler. Yes. So you increase the cooling capability, so you get better charge temperatures and all that kind of stuff. And then you would also, for stage 2, I think, change the catalytic converter and have a higher flow cat. Yep. So my car's got a 100-cell Akrapovic cat and a bigger intercooler.
Yep.
Different plugs, different panel filter, different ECU stage.
Obviously remove things like OPFs and stuff.
Well, my car didn't have an OPF, but that's a good question.
Good modern stuff.
Probably.
Yeah.
So that, my car went from 211 brake to 270.
Yeah.
From 250 Newton meters to about 400. So it's
amazing.
A big chunk of increase.
Yeah.
But even that stage 2 is still within the capacity of the engine. You were talking about how engines can take a lot more.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of go from there. There's 3s and 4s, and then I don't know what the difference is.
Yeah,
I drove a Litchfield GTR once, which was stage 4.5. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, it span all 4 wheels.
Wow.
Going down a slip road on a motorway.
Yeah.
So you've got that. There's so you can basically push it as much as you like.
Yeah.
My advice, having been down that journey only once, is just start at 1, see if you like it, then go to 2. Yeah. If you go to 2 and you don't like it, then you've spent a lot of money on hardware and stuff, and I think you just want to step up a little bit.
And I think also, if you were just after speed, let's say you got your car and you're like, I've got an M140i and I just wanted to go a little bit faster in a straight line, then stage 1's all right. But if you go stage 2 without anything else and the other mods we talked about, brakes, and forget it, like that's just, to me, that's idiotic.
So I went stage 2, and then on a standard clutch, open diff.
Yeah,
it was all right, bit hairy in the wet, and then I just started to feel that the clutch wasn't a happy bunny.
Yeah.
So I then went back and put a racing clutch and a limited slip diff, and then that nailed it. Sorted it.
Yeah.
So there's those stages. Now the last bit to talk about is if you do any of the things that we've talked about so far, any of them, apart from maybe some of the aesthetic changes, you need to tell your insurance company.
Yes.
Arguably, and this is arguably, even if you went from run flats to standard tyres, I would still tell my insurance company.
Yeah.
Because you have changed your, if you like, out the dealership specification of your car.
Yeah.
And just don't give your insurance company any excuse to be shitty with you if you have a big accident.
Yeah.